At the time I'm making this video, it's 63 days till the election of 2024 between Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee who represents America, and Donald Trump, the Republican nominee who represents... The fact is this. I've been talking my head off about what happened in Arlington National Cemetery, but the truth is, for the Donald Trump supporters, it's not going to matter to them. They don't care. As I said in a previous video, Donald Trump can take a gigantic shit in Arlington National Cemetery on one of the graves of one of our war dead, and he will gain votes. It won't matter to them. Nothing matters to these people. The law doesn't matter to these people. In fact, their own families' lives don't matter to them. They can have 5 or 6 kids. Next thing we know, mass shooting happens in their school, or in their church, or in a mall, or in a movie theater. They wouldn't blink twice, especially if it was a Donald Trump supporter who did the killing. That's how damaged the Donald Trump supporter is. That's how damaged the MAGA really is. Donald Trump is an inhuman monster, and the MAGA are inhuman monsters, and they have proven it day in and day out for the last 10 years. And yeah, I'm adding those years ever since Donald Trump walked down that escalator and announced that he was going to run for president of the United States. And since then, since that day, there has been nothing but unbelievable chaos in this country. The 4 years that he was president of the United States, we saw nothing but chaos. But what about the low prices? What about this? What about that? Whatever. What about our national dignity? What about the belief of what America was supposed to be about? What about that sacred document that so many Trump supporters want to lord over us? The Constitution of the United States. It was just one flick of a wrist by Donald Trump. And he wanted to do this. And he made clear he wanted to do this. That if he wanted, that document would be set ablaze. And Trump wanted to do that. Make no mistake about that. He wanted to do that. Because that was the only check and balance we had against him. And instead of leaving like a man, when his time was up, when he was rejected by the people of this nation in a fair and free election that was proven to be fair and free, Donald Trump, in a sick, twisted gambit, decided he wanted to stay in power because he knew he was a president that broke the law. And he decided to create an insurrection to stay in power. It failed, thank God. However, police officers at the U.S. Capitol, I'm talking about January 6th, were beaten. Some of them actually committed suicide because of a result of January 6th. The fact is, after he left office, the chaos continued. Donald Trump, behind the scenes, was manipulated this government and its people. The the MAGA in Congress and Senate ripped this country apart. Instead of doing their jobs to safeguard American lives, what did they do instead? They did nothing but endanger more American lives day in and day out. All for the sake and the service of Donald John Trump. All for the sake and the service of one man trying to get back into power so he'll stay out of prison. And yeah, that is the truth of the whole matter. Donald Trump is still facing extreme charges that he admitted to in a Fox News interview with Mark Levin. Watch my previous video and you'll see what I mean. He admitted to committing crimes against this country and its constitution, and they are still going to vote for him. The MAGA still worship him. The question is why? What does Donald Trump have over them? Because it's not just about low gas prices and all the other crap he's promised. It's not about ending abortion, although he's tried to flip-flop over the issue. It's because they are just as insane, just as evil as Donald Trump is. Just today, Nick Adams posted this tweet on his page. Mike Pence is a traitor to America. If you don't support Donald Trump, you don't support America. Is that the kind of country we want? Where you fall in line with our president like he was Adolf fucking Hitler. Now again, I make this analogy before, but I'm going to say it again. One of the things I remember about the Tom Cruise movie Valkyrie, a World War II movie, is how the Nazi officers and soldiers looked at the portraits of Adolf Hitler with such incredible, unbelievable fear. Such amazing fear, like Adolf Hitler is watching over all of them, even from a distance. That is what Donald Trump wants, and that is what Nick Adams and so many of the MAGA sycophants of his want us to do, to look at Donald Trump with unbridled fear. Well, I will not look at Donald Trump in fear. I've had my life threatened by Donald Trump supporters. I have been lied on by Donald Trump supporters. I have been accused of everything you could possibly imagine. From being a baby rapist, all the way to being a terrorist with Al-Qaeda or ISIS, or now Hamas, ever since the Israeli attack. I have been accused of everything there is. I've had my life threatened. I've had fake photos of me posted online with me with little boys. If it wasn't for the fact that I found out it was fake, I'd probably be sitting in a jail cell by now. After I called out these idiots online with one of my videos and posting those photos and showing how fake they are, I'd probably be in prison. And you're expecting me to vote for Donald Trump, who's inspired you to do shit like that? That is not going to happen. But here are the facts of the matter. In 63 days, at the time I'm making this video, we have a choice between a constitutional republic or Hitlerian fascism. Between America being a land of the free and home of the brave, to America being the land of the stormtrooper and the home of the gun. Now, Kamala Harris is not perfect. We know this. She's never tried to act as perfect. However, her entire political career, from the courtroom to the Senate to the vice presidency, has been about one thing and one thing only: the people. Now, I'm not going to repeat what she said at the DNC because she did it more elegantly than I could. But Donald Trump hasn't even mentioned the people. And the only time he mentions the people is when he can get money off of them. For Christ's sake, his daughter-in-law released a firefighter music video, which was nothing more than a cash grab. For Christ's sake, he took a photo. Oh my God, I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to get my blood pressure up. But we all know that Donald Trump could give two craps about the people. We know this. His entire life has been like this. His entire family, with the exceptions of his brother, who he and his father drove him to drink to death, and his niece, Dr. Mary Trump. Besides those two, his entire family is like that. If Donald Trump wins this election, this country as we know it will die. We'll have to start looking over our shoulders if one of Donald Trump's stormtroopers or one of his followers decides to put a bullet in our heads. And you know they will. I've already had threats against me saying, if you don't vote Trump, you're a dead man. See, what really bothers me about this is you really think that a threat like that is going to make me vote for this man? The answer is no way in hell. Now, I don't plan on early voting or anything else like that, ballot voting, because I don't trust it. This is too important to leave up to the hands of Republican secretaries of state. I intend to stand in line as long as I have to. I gotta go work first. But after I get off work, the first thing I'm gonna do before I even hit home is go to my polling place, stand in a line for hours if I have to, carry some water with me if I have to, but I stand in line for hours to make sure Donald Trump does not get back into the White House. Because that's important, because that is how important this election is. Millions upon millions upon millions of people are looking at this election. Our allies and our enemies are looking at this election. If Donald Trump wins, we will lose the trust of our allies. And if Donald Trump wins, if he goes to another war, we are fucked. Because no one is going to help us. No one is going to protect us, and no one will fight for us. And our enemies will rejoice and go on a feeding frenzy in this country. We know this. Excuse me. If Kamala Harris wins, at least we'll have someone who will work for the people, who will ensure that the law of the land, which is the United States Constitution, is followed to the letter. Because with Donald Trump, he might as well go to wherever the Constitution rests now, wherever museum in Washington or Philadelphia, where the Constitution was signed, take a match to it and burn it to cinders. Because that is what Donald Trump wants to do. He doesn't care about the law. He doesn't care about freedom. He cares about himself and anyone who can fill his pocketbook. He has shown that his entire screwed up life. And you and I, my brothers and sisters, my brothers and sisters of America, we are the only chance to end the MAGA cancer, which is Donald John Trump. He is a cancer. He is a blight. He is a pox on this country. It's time for it to be excised for good. And the only way we can do that now is by the ballot box. Make a plan. Stick to the plan. If you have to lose your job temporarily to vote this monster out, so be it. Because I guarantee you one thing. Jobs can come and go. Our freedoms are not negotiable. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.